Right. All right. What's happening, everybody? We are back for another edition to the Conscious Approach video series on YouTube. My name is JV Wins. As always, that is Dogon SS, here to kick it with y'all, talking about society, culture, sports, music, whatever y'all want to talk about, or rather, whatever we want to talk about, right? So before we get into this week's stream, gonna kick things off by reiterating to go ahead and hit the subscribe button so that you can join the tribe. Get those notifications whenever new content is published to the channel. Hit that like button if you like or don't like what we have to say on this or any other video, and let us know what you think about what we have to say via the commentary on in the comment section, because we certainly appreciate the back and forth. Thanks to everybody who has been subscribing to the channel. We are pushing this thing along slowly but surely, getting to the big time on the mountaintop. And we certainly appreciate everybody who has joined us for the ride. So thank you for that. And if you have not done so, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, because whether you're watching this via the stream or whether you're watching it via one of our individual uploads, the invitation to kick it with us whenever we do these things is always open. So thank you to everyone who has done so. Thank you in advance to everybody who will do so in the future. Now, with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and get things started off. First thing that we are going to talk about today is comments made by Bow Wow and reactions to Bow Wow's comments that came from DJ Envy and Charlamagne. So Bow Wow recently talked about how he thinks that hip hop is trash. And DJ Envy and Charlamagne did not appreciate Bow Wow's comments too much. Or not necessarily that they didn't appreciate it, they just disagree with him. So Bow Wow recently was asked about the state of hip hop, and he unapologetically gave his opinion, basically saying that he feels as though it's formulaic, everything sounds the same, and so on and so forth. He is obviously not the first artist to make such claims. I do think that, though, he is one of the first artists of his generation who has talked like this, I would say. Um, of course, there's more, research that can be done in that regard. But Bow Wow's in our generation. I don't think that any of the millennials or younger have talked about how they think that this music has sort of gone backwards. It's usually been more the old heads who have said stuff like that. So it's interesting that Bow Wow being, I think Bow Wow still at this point like early 30s. He might be like 34, 35, something like that. I got to fact check that one. But
Yeah, I'll look that up.
yeah, be that as it may, Bow Wow did say he thinks that hip hop is trash, and Envy and Charlemagne don't agree with him. So this article from Hot New Hip Hop gives us all the context that we need. It says DJ Envy disagrees with Bow Wow's take that hip hop is, quote, trash. No matter what era of hip hop you're in, there's always been a conversation around the good old days and whether the genre is as good as it could be. A lot of that debate centers itself around the old guard versus the new, and usually results in heated back and forth. Moreover, we saw a recent exchange of this thanks to Bow Wow at the BET Awards. When asked about no rap artist placing at number one on the Billboard chart so far this year, the rapper pointed blame at the current generation's lack of quality output. Whether you agree or not is another matter, but for a veteran of the game, his assessment seems short sighted. Quote, because niggas putting out trash ass music, Bow Wow expressed. Everything sound alike, everything repetitive, same tempo. Everybody could do that. You know what I'm saying? You really got to have talent. You really got to go. I think people are starting to get tired of it now. That's why you don't see nothing charting. This prompted many disagreements from the rap community, including a salient one from DJ Envy. Furthermore, the Breakfast Club host spoke to TMZ on Wednesday about this take, and he attributed the sheer quantity of music to this phenomenon rather than quality. In addition, Envy named up and comers and established acts alike, such as Young Nutty, Tootsie, 21 Savage, and Drake, as examples of great hip hop. Quote, I think it's just a matter of time, he remarked. I just think that we're just consuming so much music now, and it's kind of hard for music to stick. Usually we had music and we'd rock for a whole summer or a couple of months. but now it seems we're turning music over too fast. End quote. Meanwhile, another host from the radio show to disagree with Bow Wow's comments was Charlamagne the God. Still, this wasn't a direct response to that assessment, but rather a general takedown of people criticizing contemporary rap before all this. He said that the genre is thriving and that anyone who thinks it's dying is, quote, stuck in an era. Regardless, stay logged into Hot New Hip Hop for the latest news and updates on Bow Wow and DJ Envy, yada, yada, yada. So, yeah, there you go. DJ Envy says that it's just too much music. And so we're going through it too fast for any of it to stick. And that's why some of it's not charting. But he still contends that the quality of the music and the genre is doing well, thriving. And Charlamagne says it is doing very well. And basically, if you don't think so, you're old. That's essentially what Charlamagne said, is that you're old if you think that it's not good. So Charlamagne's, of course, doing the ages thing, which is what a lot of people in this genre do. Unfortunately, hip hop has become very ageist. So if you have if you have some sort of dissenting opinion, it must be because you're old. That's what hip hop has become, unfortunately. A very toxic aspect of the genre in and of itself. But what did you think of what Bow Wow had to say, and what did you think of Envy and Charlamagne's response to what Bow Wow had to say? Do you think it's trash like Bow Wow, or not, or do you think it's somewhere in the middle?
I think it's trash. I agree with him saying that it's trash. But I also think him saying that is very ironic because he's trash. So, and if you want to look at old rap and the trajectory of old rap and where it was headed, and then like where it was headed when it first got started, even up until the early 90s, the trajectory that was going on, the topics they were talking about, it was all headed to me towards a more positive and artistic direction. But then you can look at the era where Bow Wow was doing things, and it was underneath the curve. It's actually worse than the early forms of hip hop and rap. So in his placement, if he likes to think that where he was at was fire, it wasn't. It was trash. The wild part about it is the part where Bow Wow, the era where he was rapping in, was up here compared to what these guys are doing now. So relatively speaking, they are more trash than his era, but his era is trash compared to where hip hop should actually be.
Yeah.
So I find him saying this hella ironic, and yeah, dude, you're part of the problem. These kids are following the formula that Jermaine Dupri put out for you. And so whether you think that you're trill or not, even though T.I. and other people were collaborating to write your rhymes, so you don't even have your own bars. So again, sir, you're a part of the problem, not the solution. So I don't want to hear anything that Bow Wow has to say about modern rap because he's responsible for some of this crap. And dealing with DJ Envy and Charlamagne, for Pete's sake, for them sitting there caping for this new age trash, this sewage, this sludge, and for them to be sitting there and going, oh yeah, nah, this is just as trill. Y'all just sleep because y'all just stuck in y'all old ways. The sounds, the sonics have changed. And you guys got to get with the times with depression rap, popping pills, and twerking. I got to listen to that. That's what I have to subject myself to. Yeah, you're just getting old. You got to get with the signs of the times. And no, I don't agree with that either. And I feel like that's just them being old people placating to the younger generation because they're the ones that's going to be consuming from people like them in the first place. So they have to be allies with these trash people because they want to be able to still make their financial upcomings. So I feel like both sides have vested interest in the statements that they made. Bow Wow was played out, and he said, "Hey, listen to people like me," which is ironic because you suck. And
Yeah.
then DJ Envy and them playing it up for keeping their wallets a little bit greener and for them to stay relevant in the minds and the eyes of the younger generation. So, how about you, sir? How do you feel about this? Do you think Bow Weezy got a point here, or do you think DJ Envy and Charlamagne has got this one all figured out?
I think that what you said was right on. Is relatively speaking, it's an interesting comment to hear from Bow Wow because it's funny because I chart the degradation of hip hop to the dance era, which is what Bow Wow was a part of. So Bow Wow was popping around the same time that D4L and Franchise Boys and all of that stuff was going down.
Mhm.
And to me, that stuff was when it started to go downhill. Back then, I was told that I'm crazy because I don't think that that stuff is good.
Mhm.
But if you juxtapose that music, lean with it, rock with it, and my white tee, and and
You
and all of those other songs. What's the one? The other one?
Laffy Taffy.
Yeah, Laffy Taffy. That's the one I'm trying. That's the one I'm trying to think of. Yeah, if you compare all of that to this depression, let's just get wasted and party. Or if we're not just getting wasted and party, let me talk about how my homeboys ain't with me no more because I'm famous, and nobody loves me, and because I'm on, and I'm sad, and the world is against me. There's that one Derez Deshawn. He had that one song that was that's probably what his most popular song. I think is "Fed Up," and there was a line in the song where he was like, "How do you say that you ride with me when you don't even like none of my Instagram pics?" And people are rapping along to the song, and I'm actually listening to this dude rapping this, and I'm like, "Are y'all serious?"
No,
So
but
this guy is
seriously,
basically
but
saying
seriously
that he
though,
has no friends because these people don't like his Instagram pics.
yeah, bro.
That to me,
No, I'm saying
I'm
like,
just,
do people really fuck with you though if they don't like your picture though? If they see it,
I guess that's and that's why I think it's trash now, and that's what I'm saying. So yeah, it's trash. And so like, and what's interesting is the Snap era and the white tee stuff and the Bow Wow
yeah.
stuff, comparatively speaking, is, in my opinion, a step up from a lot of what's going on currently. I just think that, comparatively, you're right. And that's funny to hear Bow Wow saying that because even Bow Wow, who was a part of swinging the pendulum in one particular direction, saying that, it's interesting. It's an interesting perspective.
Mhm.
But my biggest problem with this is with Charlamagne and DJ Envy. These two guys represent more than any other artist what's wrong with this music, in my
Mhm.
opinion.
Mhm.
And I said this when we talked about, I think it was when we talked about Faison, Love, and Lizzo, I think. The coddling, the culture of coddling and co-signing in this genre is absolutely disgusting. And it's the reason why bad music is heralded as good music and why the bad music continues to persist. Because we're living in this age where media is king and content is king, the hip hop music landscape from a journalistic and reporting perspective is too chicken shit to be critical. I have said this thousands of times and I'll continue to say it because it's true. You'll never hear any of these people who host these podcasts or these radio shows or these streaming shows or whatever you consume this stuff from say that an album is not good. You'll never hear them say that an artist needs work, that a particular album isn't good, that a particular artist needs to improve their skills. You'll never hear any critical commentary because they're too afraid to offend these sensitive ass artists. Because these artists live in an echo chamber and believe everything they do is good because they're surrounded by people who tell them all their shit is good. So any dissenting opinion is viewed as an attack. So they think that you hate them and their entire existence just because you said that a particular piece of music that they put out isn't that great. And so they become they're so triggered that now you don't want to risk alienating them because you want them to come on your show. You want to still be able to do these interviews. You still want to be able to get the clout off of them coming onto your platform. You want to be able to get the pics for social media, for Instagram, so you can say, hey, this artist stopped by the show, check us out, blah, blah, blah. You need the algorithm to serve you up. And in order for the algorithm to serve you up, you need the goodwill of these artists. And so you can't alienate them by actually telling the truth, which is they put out bad music and they're not good at this stuff. And as a result, you coddle them. in order to, generate the goodwill, in order to get them to be on the show. This, in my opinion, is what has most greatly contributed to why the music is trash. I do agree with Bow Wow. I think it sucks. I think most of it is not good. You can call me old if you want. I don't give a damn. But I agree with you. Why does me saying I don't want to hear people telling me to pop pills all day, or serve all day, or twerk all day, or spend $10,000 on a bag just so I can get some chick to have sex with me all day?
Oh my
Why
God.
do I need to listen or listen to music all day with a woman telling me that I can't date her unless I'm rich? I don't think me not wanting to hear that all day means that I'm stuck in an era. Maybe objectively speaking, it just means the music is trash. Maybe it just means the music is trash. And newsflash to all of you hip hop journalists out there: Nas, King's Disease 1, 2, and 3, phenomenal albums. Nas, the Magic album, great. I'm not the biggest fan of J. Cole, but that comeback season, or whatever his last album was called, good stuff. Kendrick, the Half Steppers album, good stuff. Pusha T, It's Almost Dry, Daytona, some of these other albums being put out by these other artists who don't do that all day long. Or even if they do play to low hanging fruit, because Pusha T
Mhm,
still leans into the coke raps, but he's
mhm.
so good at it lyrically that I'll let it slide, because she's just ripping it all day on every song. He never misses a beat, man.
I
So
hear
like,
that.
all you hip hop journalists out there who want to tell me Young Nudie or Nutty or however the hell you pronounce his name and Tootsie is good music. I don't even know who that kid is. I'm assuming he's a jit, or any of this other crap that y'all try to sell to me as good music. How about we put more balance into this game and spotlight some of these other artists doing things better, so that we can at least provide a more realistic representation of what the landscape of this music looks like. But this genre is so hyper obsessed with staying young that these young people come into it, they make bad music, and then they're heralded for it because you don't want to alienate them. So I don't want to hear nothing from Charlamagne and DJ Envy, because they're a part of the problem. They bring these trash artists onto that show, The Breakfast Club, all the time, and I listen and I watch, and all they do is ask them questions and affirm the trash music that they put out by co-signing it and telling them how good it is. And that is far worse than any comments that Bow Wow is going to make to the contrary. So I don't like, I agree with what Bow Wow said. Even though he was a part of, bringing it down initially, I'm going to take his comments in stride, because I think people like Charlemagne and Envy are contributing even more so to what's so bad about this music nowadays. They need to go away. We need more people in rap, hip hop, whatever the hell you want to call it, who do these shows, who are who are courageous enough to be critical and call stuff out for being trash. There's not enough of that. And because there is not enough of that, it is bad. And Bow Wow's right.
Yeah, and to speak on that last little part you talked about, but there, there's such this thing in our culture of being haters. Like you don't want to be you trying that man eating, bro. He trying to put food on his family. He making money, bro. Why you trying to bring him down? See you crabs in the barrel. Hey man, this guy's talking about uh finessing me financially. He's not talking about good business practices. He's calling the women in my neighborhood whores and bitches. He's talking about selling drugs to my nephews and uncles.
He's talking
So
about, and he's talking about willingly taking my woman away from me.
yeah,
He'll
he
just do it
and
on
brag about it.
purpose. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, he'll just do it.
yeah, because I'm a broke boy, because I'm an honest working man and not a scammer. Yeah, this is what's going on, and I call him trash, and I say that he's detrimental to my community, and I'm hating because I'm taking food off his plate, bro. He's messing up our community. Period. So who's the biggest hater? The guy that's trying to correct, the guy that's trying to brainwash your kid. Who's in the right and who's in the wrong here? Because that if you let that guy just rap with impunity, then he's going to tell your children, not you viewers, but you know what I'm getting at. He's going to tell your children to be a degenerate. So no, I'm not hating on another black man. I'm not trying to tear another black man down. That man's music is tearing black men down. So I'm not advocating for his crap or his trash. Sewage is what I call it. Belongs in a septic tank. And I don't want to hear that in my playlist. So for DJ Envy and Charlamagne to be sitting there caping for these labels and stuff, because that's who really paid them. And so and they put these goofy artists in front of our face, because the new wave is these people aren't really behind the label. They're just making it by themselves, which is trash. These big people that's in your face that you don't want to see, but you keep hearing about, the Ice Spices of the world. These are done. There's behind the shadows strings getting pulled for these people to be in your feed. And so those same strings pay these companies to do radio interviews. So what does DJ Envy and Charlamagne look like biting the hands that feed them? They don't care about the art form. The art form is turned into commercialized garbage. So it's no longer about art, it's about mass production. And so now in the days of streaming, it's just get it out, get it out, get it out. So Envy talking about something, people are digesting too soon. Whose fault is that? This is all of this stuff is contributions of the industry that they are making sure is turned into a commodity, as you mentioned before. This is no longer about art. This is all about pushing, selling. And so when you have that, you have this GMO, non-organic garbage that's killing everybody. And so who is sitting there at the grocery store telling me that these GMOs are still as good as organic fruit? These bastards. And I ingest this crap all the time. And now I got indigestion from trying to digest all of this trash. So when I say I don't want this garbage anymore, I want my kids listening to this. You tell me I'm old? Nah, dude. I just know how the proper system works and how real food used to taste. And this is crap. So Charlamagne, DJ Envy, they can stick it where the sun doesn't shine.
They really could.
But
they
most
really
likely,
can.
and you may not co-sign this part, but most likely, given those two's history, they probably like it up there in the first goddamn place. So I don't want to hear nothing those clowns have to say, man, because they just sit here and, like I said, they cape for these major labels, and these major labels don't care about art no more. So yeah, I'm with you, bro. There's still good art out there being created, but you just got to go digging for it. And anything that's readily available, pass through your feed, you heard on the radio or in a club or in a bar, most likely that ain't what you should be listening to. You got to try to, dumpster dive, what I'm saying, some A&E kind of stuff, and find the diamonds in the rough. Because it's so much music being made that there has to be good shit out there. You just got to go find it, which kind of always was the thing since mainstream became mainstream. But there's still an oversaturation of trash, I would say, though, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And point out an example of something that had an intention and a clear direction before it became popular, and then once it became popular and mass produced, it didn't become warped into something different.
Exactly.
You get this all the time. People in other fields, in other arts, do it. Like, people got mad, like Harry Potter, for example, right? Or anything, any example. You get those people who will swear up and down the books are better. The books are better. The books are better. Y'all sitting out here watching these movies, they don't change so much. They've diluted the quality of the original art form in the book by putting this movie together, and it sucks. And the book was better. Like, point out anything that was inherently better before it became mass produced. Music is no different, especially this genre. This is a major genre now. It's consumed by everybody. And so what's so unique about hip hop in particular is that it was something that was developed to speak to the heart of a particular plight. But because it's mass produced, like the heart and soul of it it tries to retain some of that, but the sheer commercialization of it, there's like this weird tug and pull where the commercialization of it goes against the heart and soul, but there are still stewards within the game who are trying to retain that heart and soul, and they're fighting a losing battle. And those stewards are the same people who, similar to the people who will say the books are better, are trying to say, hey man, some of this stuff is uh a de-evolution of what it used to be due to mass production and commercialization. And that's not just with arts, it's with anything in commerce or industry. Food becomes mass produced, you lose nutrients, you lose quality, you lose health. Health risks go up when something gets mad. Whenever you need to microwave something to put it out better, to put it out faster at a greater rate, you're going to lose some of the good qualities of it, if not all of it. It's just the nature of putting out something at that kind of an increased rate. And so it's not a shocker to see that this has happened to this particular form of music. But what pisses me off so much is all of these people who, might be in bed with labels or whatever their vested interest is. I like to keep it basically on, they just have an interest to propel their own platform.
Mhm.
So Envy and Charlamagne don't care. Like you said, I agree 100%. They don't care about the health of the genre. They don't care about the health of the music. They don't care about the artist per se. They don't care about how good the music actually is. They just want to get 100,000 views every time a Breakfast Club video drops on YouTube. They want to make sure that when they take that pic for Instagram, that it gets hundreds of thousands of likes with the artist on the Instagram. They want to get as much spins to their platform as possible. So, in an effort to do that, they will soullessly placate to this bad art that's running rampant because it's a means to an end to get more algorithmic spins for whatever it is that they got going on. So it's this perfect storm of bad music being made and bad music being supported because the support of the bad music is a good thing for these platforms. And it just goes full circle. And it's unfortunate because I don't see it too much happening with other genres, at least not as much. I'm pretty sure it probably does. These things tend not to be super isolated, but is it happening at an increased rate the way that it's happening with hip hop, rap, whatever you want to call it? I'd be hard pressed to say it is because I got Sirius XM. I listen to my shows all week and I'm trying. I try to find the new music that's good, the newer artists that do good music. And for the most part, it's bad. And I say that unapologetically. If you don't like it, you can, have this new music and go be with God. And, when you got a 14-year-old daughter who wants to wear a see through dress, where nothing's on underneath, but she just wants to wear the see-through dress because that's all that's in her feed and in her music. You tell me how you reconcile you consuming this nonsense with wanting to raise a daughter who doesn't want to dress like that. So obviously this goes deeper than that, but I think that just on the surface, the commentary around the music is what has damaged it most. No one wants to be critical of bad art within this context, and that to me is the biggest problem. It's unfortunate. But I think Bow Wow's correct. It's bad.
Yeah, and I'll just say this: that whole industry, man, the blogging industry. As you mentioned, they just want to stay in the good graces of these artists because that's just the play. Everybody's dope. Every project is fire,
Every
and
album's a classic. Yeah.
yeah, and that's
Yeah.
like, bro, that wasn't dope, bro. And they just gas these people up, and then what ends up happening is the young and impressionable viewers, they're like, oh yeah, DJ so and so said that so and so's dope, so yeah, he's dope. And then what happens is they wire their, because you try to figure out why these kids think certain songs are fire. It's because the the group think in their cohort is saying that's fire. Some of it I hear, I go, I see why you think that's fire. I'll give you a pass. Other stuff, it goes, how is this fire to y'all? But
Yeah.
at the same time, we just didn't grow up in that cohort. So they're used to synthetic. It's kind of like these people that grew up. It's like just growing up looking at BBLs and thinking that that's attractive. And it's just like, nah, bro, like, the real thing. And the BBLs are emulating the real thing. So Like, what are you doing? But they, you'll see the ones that don't know the difference, or know the difference, but there is no difference. A woman's a woman.
Yeah. Right.
And it's just
Yeah.
like, nah, dude, like it's not. And so you hear them and you can see what they see in the BBLs, but you go, no, that's stupid though. And so the same thing with these songs where they're saying real shit, where they say, hey man, you think that the people that's there for you really gonna show up for you, it's like, okay, that's true. But every song, every bar is about people letting you down and everybody around you fake. And nobody understands you.
Can't trust these hoes.
Yeah, you
And
can't trust
yeah.
these, like, not all of this stuff, every song.
Yeah.
So it just gets yeah, it's just too much. And you try to figure out where their mindset is. Then when you see certain things that they do on social media, some of the behaviors that they're doing, and you go, wow, what's that? Hey man, look at what they're consuming.
Yeah.
And then you'll see that this type of behavior isn't so far-fetched. So in a nutshell, it is trash. The enablers like DJ Envy and Charlamagne's people here at the Conscious Approach know better than to allow them to incept them with such trash. So
Yeah. Very well said. Those two guys, in my opinion, are they're like in the olden days, there was the court jester, the clown figure who would entertain the royal court. Back in those days, they would do goofy stuff and light themselves on fire and read bad poetry. Like rappers today, a lot of rappers today I view them as court jesters. And I think people like Charlamagne and Envy are the people who used to be in the royal court who will go out and find the court jester to come in and entertain the king and the queen. Like you're just enabling this whole you're enabling bad art, bad, all of it is just bad. Yeah, I just think that these people are court jesters, and this might be the one rare instance, well, maybe not, but this is one of the rare instances in which I'll co-sign something Bow Wow has to say.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So,
that's crazy.
Oh man. Okay, so now we have a situation brewing between R&B veteran India Arie and some criticisms that she has levied towards some of today's modern female hip hop entertainers.
Okay.
Let's just say black music, because Janelle Monae is not like a rapper or anything like that. I don't know if you would consider Megan Thee Stallion to be a rapper. Whatever.
Yeah.
These days we're so loosey with these standards. I can't keep up anymore. But yeah, so India Arie is sort of throwing flames at the way that some of these entertainers conduct themselves, mainly with the way that they present themselves, flaunting their bodies, the way that they dress on stage, the twerking and all of that kind of stuff. So India Arie has had some interesting things to say, specifically in regards to Megan Thee Stallion and Janelle Monae. And people, similar to the way people are going to criticize you if you say hip hop is trash or these rappers are trash, they're going to say you're old. Similarly, people who think that India Arie says stuff like this, they kind of think she's out of touch and she's old and she just needs to let them live and do whatever they want, because that's what we want. That's what we want, is for everybody to just do whatever they want. So, India Arie, of course, is too old school to allow herself to be sequestered into mincing her words. This is a piece that we picked up from TMZ. India Arie is responding to the criticism that is being levied against her for criticizing Megan Thee Stallion and Janelle Monae. So this says India Arie dragged for blasting Megan Thee Stallion and Janelle Monae. Let them live a bit. India Arie doesn't like the fact Megan Thee Stallion and Janelle Monae show off a lot of skin during their performances, but that criticism has the internet ripping her as a boomer. The veteran neo-soul singer issued a scathing rebuke of the two artists' live show choices, namely their tendency to bare their bodies on stage, which was again on display this past weekend during Essence Festival, where both Megan Thee Stallion and Janelle Monae grabbed the mic. So you can see here, this is a video via Twitter.
Now, before you continue, let me give the YouTube moderators a little something real quick. Now, this is part of an official stage performance. Plus, she's got nipple pasties on, so there was no real actual areola action there. And then here, where we're seeing ass clapping about to occur again, a part of an official stage performance. She's wearing sheer clothes and a thong, so this is all good. So you can carry on, bro. I just had to talk
Yeah, yeah, appreciate that. And so yeah, India Arie doesn't like that. And Janelle Monae, for anyone who has not follow her, she has talked often about how being naked and being nudity is something to her that's just kind of regular.
Mm.
She talks about how she's in her freest, most authentic state when she is the least amount of when she is wearing less and less clothing. If it were up to her, she'd be walking around naked all the time. She doesn't even really like wearing clothes like that. So just to give you an idea of the ideology of Janelle Monae, why she would do that on stage, she don't care about being naked. And furthermore, for anyone who does not know, Janelle Monae actually does not identify as a woman. She's like non-binary, so she identifies as like they or them, not she or her. So that just gives you some perspective on, there's some correlation with some of these behaviors so that it just doesn't catch you off guard. Uh, and then the article goes on to say their respective sets went viral. In Janelle's case, it was because she ended up flashing the audience, revealing her right breast, which had a nipple pasty. She's had a habit lately of dropping her top, but has said she feels comfortable in her own skin. So that part. As for Meg, she didn't really do anything too crazy, just a little twerking of her booty, which she always incorporates in her routines and for which she's kind of become famous because that's really the only thing that she's good at. So yeah, here's and I'm not even gonna keep showing that because that's all that is. It's just her doing that. So the article continues. In any case, India wasn't feeling the perceived peep show they put on, and she sounded off about it on Instagram, saying, "quote The issue is what is context. Humanity does everything, but does everything belong in a stage? No, is everything for kids? No." So I'll just go ahead and read India Arie's post here. It says the issue is what is context. Humanity does everything, but what does everything belong? But does everything belong in a stage? No. Is everything for kids? No. Is everything for everybody? No. So when we as a culture make something like this mainstream, it shows a lack of discretion and discernment. There's a typo there, but it meant in discernment. To those in the comments who laugh at anyone who wants these things for our culture, you certainly have that right. Just as many folks have the right to want our mainstream international export, our music, to show us in a respectful light. I'd like to go on the record saying this won't age well, and that's my issue. I love Janelle and Meg the way I love us all, and I don't like this moment. Don't bother debating me. LOL, I don't care. And I do this. For 25 years, I've done this. So read, ponder, or don't. So there you go. So that was India Arie's clap back to people who are coming at her for saying that she's, you know, making a mountain out of a molehill. It's not a big deal just because she flashed a breast or twerks on stage, whatever. So, what do you think of what India Arie had to say about Megan Thee Stallion and Janelle Monae, or just generally speaking, this particular form of entertainment?
I mean, I agree with her, but similar to the last topic, man, she's just sound like an old head and a hater, and somebody that is just trying to tear black people down. That's unfortunately that's what she's gonna get labeled as for saying these things that honestly is just common sense. When all day and night, where you're hollering up and down how people don't respect you as a culture and as a people. And every day you get insulted by people not taking you seriously. But then on stage, you revel in people doing things that nobody else does. Nobody else does these things. Yeah. You'll see white people do stuff here and there. That's fair. The Madonnas of the world, the Lady Gagas, you'll have them. But for the most part, it's not, if we want to chop it down into percentages, it's not over 50% of their artists. doing it, but it's over 50% of ours doing it. And so when Janelle Monae, who had, I used to like some of her songs when she first came out. You know, I thought she was being creative and pushing the envelope in music in directions that I didn't see anybody else in her cohort doing. So I supported her in her unique way of viewing the world. Then, you know, because she was into like robots and stuff. And I was like, okay, whatever. But I'm sure that robot stuff plays into this non-binary thing where she just, you know, I'm nothing. I'm just, you know, okay, whatever. Janelle, whatever. So now all of a sudden, because she know what her body looked like,
Right. Yeah.
and so she's playing this whole card of just showing her bodies and showing her assets nowadays. I ain't gonna lie, but I'll be looking at the Google images every once in a while whenever something happens. And then when I saw this, and she says, get off my areola, and then, you know, lifts up her top. And I go, what does that even mean, get off her areola in the first place? And then on top of that, how unsexy or how like that didn't even look right. It looked forced. And it's just like, yeah, so I'm gonna put this in my song just so I can show my titties on stage. That's what it felt like. And that's what it looked like. So to me, this whole thing plays into what we talked about in our last topic, where music has, you know, turned into this, you know, our music, for whatever reason, has turned into this degenerate art form where everything has to be either hypersexualized or criminal. And so for the women here, you know, both of them are doing the hypersexual thing now, to just for the sake of doing it, because that's what we do as artists, which and it's not. And so yeah, so the direction has turned our women into doing this. I mean, they grew up listening to all that rap saying that, you know, bitches ain't shit, and you can't trust no hoe. You know, all those lyrics that those guys were just dunking on women. I mean, they were in the club dancing to those songs too, guys. So they got all of this crap from us.
They still are. They're still in there dancing to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they got all this stuff from us. And so we were out there, you know, and I'm not putting blame on men, because there's a whole systemic thing behind who was pushing that stuff in the clubs and radio stations anyway. But I'm just saying that that whole misogynistic form of music that was being propagated by these labels and stuff in the early 90s, and, you know, whatever, that stuff got into the minds and the psyches of both men and women, children and men. And so now the children of this, the Megan Thee Stallions and all these people, are just out here just saying, hey, this is what y'all wanted anyway, right? Strippers popping ass, right? I got what you need, you know? And then, oh, I got what y'all need, so what? I'm gonna finesse y'all for it because I'm out here trapping. And all the girls like, yeah, girl, go get them. Yeah, because they tried to play you first. Yeah, because bitches ain't shit in the first place. Money over bitches. So when you got this whole rhetoric, we got this whole rhetoric going, naturally, you have created an enemy out of nowhere. And so now we've created this monster known as thought rap and all this stuff that's going on with these girls out here, 304 culture, popping box on stage. And that's the move. So these things here, I mean, it's like over time, this thing has grown into this monstrosity. And so India Arie, somebody that's from a previous generation who has a clear mindset that just goes, okay, this is garbage, you know, teach their own. Everybody has their own thing that they like or whatever. I'm not here to judge nobody, but goddamn, this is stupid. And it's sad that she would have to sit there and respond to saying that this is degrading our people. So a lot to say there. This thing's all over the place, but I agree with Miss Arie here. I think that our music, you know, whether it's R&B, pop, or rap, our women are degrading themselves now. And at one point, when I was a younger man, I might have wanted to see this world, but that's when I was being young and ignorant. Yeah, that's when I was being young and ignorant. But now, actually growing up and knowing the consequences of life and knowing what's really going on, I see how detrimental this type of behavior is, and it doesn't help our community at all. So, what about you, sir? Do you agree with Miss Arie here, or do you think she's overblowing this, and she needs to just get with the times?
You know, instead of instead of using age as something to denigrate an individual, can we try to use age as something to listen to what an individual has to say and respect where they're coming from?
That makes more
Like,
sense.
can we try that at some point? Let's just give it a try and see how it works out. Because maybe someone with age has a perspective that you aren't privy to because you haven't lived as long as they have. Like, wisdom is a thing. I know that we really do, particularly when it comes to the ecosystem around this particular culture. We want to get rid of you as soon as you hit 35. We want to throw you out. It's worse than professional sports. Because at least in professional sports, they respect your contributions and are willing to give you a veteran league minimum contract that's still worth millions of dollars. When it comes to this music, this black art and culture, this black music, they just want to get rid of you as soon as you hit 35 plus, as if you just shouldn't even exist anymore. And not only should we no longer pay attention to the product that you put out, but we also shouldn't even listen to what you have to say on stuff because you're
Yeah.
just old.
Yeah.
Well, why is it that what they're saying doesn't make sense? Because they're old. Like, that's not even a reasonable retort to the question. You're just saying, oh, they're old. It's ridiculous. But this is a generational thing. This is back when my parents were young and their parents didn't want them walking out of the house in a dress or a skirt that didn't go past their knees. Like, remember back then? So like that's what like my mother and like my older relatives had to contend with. Don't walk out of the house if your dress don't go past your knees, or if your skirt don't go past your knees. Why do you have to wear high heels every time you got to go on a date, blah blah blah. So this is that on steroids in 2023, where it's like, now it's not a point of don't go out of the house with your skirt past your knees. It's, get on stage and just be a stripper, even though you're not a stripper, but still retain the right to call out people who criticize you for behaving in that exact manner. See, that's where I think I agree with India Arie, but where I draw the line at, I think India Arie is looking at this altruistically. And India Arie is saying it all needs to go away. And I don't blame her for having that perspective, because in essence, I agree with that too. But I have given up on that. I know it's not all going to go away. So my thing is, can we please have some consistency and just be honest when we actually broach these particular kinds of subjects? Do not come to me demanding respect and wanting to not be perceived to be a stripper or a sex worker in general, or at the very least be perceived as someone who is synonymous with being a sexual object, when your entire persona and the entire personality that you've curated yourself through the music that you put out and how you present yourself publicly is that of a sexual object or a sex worker. Pick one. Either be Alicia Keys and be known for your talent, your musical talent and your art, or be Megan Thee Stallion and be known for somebody who has a big butt and shakes her ass on stage and barely no clothes. But this in-between nexus society that we're trying to create, where everything is fair game and people can just do whatever they want, that's not gonna fly. Because that's why people like India Arie come out of the woodwork with the criticisms that they have. Let's just have people occupy a lane and stay in it. Megan Thee Stallion will be offended if you treat her like a stripper, even though publicly what she acts like is a stripper. Now, in her private life, does she carry herself that way? Maybe not. I don't know her personally, but I know that if that is the case, then shame on her for portraying herself publicly that way when she really knows that privately she is not that way. And I would say that's egg on her face for being a conformist and not wanting to be courageous enough to carve a lane for herself in which she's known as an actual artist and not as a big booty twerking rapper. No one cares about Megan Thee Stallion's lyrics. I don't. I don't know a single person who actually does like new hip hop that cares about her lyrics. They just care about the fact that she's a bad bitch, whatever the hell that means. Her music has no merit, though. So, how about we do this, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, people who want to criticize India Arie for her comments? Let's just let everything be a spade. Megan Thee Stallion publicly is a sex worker who happens to rap from time to time. Same thing with the rest of these rappers, if you want to call them that. Cardi B goes in that boat as well. Nicki Minaj goes in that boat, even though they're kind of OGs at this point. Sweetie goes in that boat. Lotto goes in that boat. Coyle Ray goes in that boat. Glorilla goes in that boat. Erica Banks goes in that boat. All of the city girls go in that boat. This music that y'all love so much. There's this new chick who has this horribly, ridiculously disrespectful ratchet song about pound town pound cake, whatever the name of this terrible
Oh
song is.
yeah,
Some ratchet rapper, some ratchet female talking about she needs her baby needs a new daddy and pay me for this and pay me for that, and I'm in Miami. Just bad music all the way around. Horrible representations for these women out here who will listen to this stuff but turn around and say, well, she ain't it's the remember the classic, it's a Chris Rock bit, classic shit, where he's talking about this, and this was like 20 years ago. And he says, this music is confusing. These rappers, these women go out to the club and they dance to this music and they know all the words and they rap to it. But the second that you come to them on some real shit, because you believe that they're about that life because they know all the music, they stop and they look at you and say, well, he ain't talking about me. Like back in the day when it was mostly a male dominated field. And so all of the male rappers was talking about bitches this, hoes that, tricks this, bitches ain't shit, blah, blah, blah. These women were rapping along to all of these songs, dancing to it, all of it. And and the joke was, I come to you on this because you rapping about this stuff. And the DJ calls out the women for being on this music stuff, rapping these lyrics that are openly mocking and disrespecting them. And the women all stop to say, well, he ain't talking about me, as if that's some sort of weird reconciliation that grants you permission to be able to enjoy this stuff. Maybe it is you, ma'am, miss, whatever you want. Maybe it is you. Maybe Janelle Monae is just what she is. Maybe she is. Let's stop trying to create this weird thing where you're this respectable member of society, but you're still moonlighting as this sexual object. Like maybe like it's like let's just be honest. Maybe some of y'all want to revel in being a sexual object, and it is what it is. And if that's the case, then I think India Arie's comments deserve a place to be heard without her being criticized for being old, as if that somehow makes what she said not true. It's like when people get mad. It's like when NBA players get mad at Charles Barkley and say his opinion doesn't matter because he never won a championship. As if Charles Barkley's lack of winning a championship has any bearing on whether his opinion was right or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, India Arie is older. Does that mean that what she said is wrong or false or somehow incorrect? No. You just want to derail the conversation and do a redirect to make it about the fact that she's old. Is what she said true? Yes or no? It absolutely is true. So just call a spade a spade. Stop trying to make noble creatures out of some of these people. Maybe some of these women just want to be sexual objects, and let's let the chips fall where they may. The ones who want to be known for their talent, who can play all the instruments and hit all the notes and sing, and maybe do a dance routine that doesn't involve them popping ass on stage, they have a lane. And then people like this have a lane, and they're just sexual objects. And everything else can be categorized the way that it ought to be. But other than that, I think that I agree with India Arie. It is what it is. It is what it is. So stop trying to make it something that is not.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this is where we're at. This is chickens coming home to roost for everybody. that were in the early 2000s, late 90s, that were just, shrugging all this stuff off as just entertainment. It wasn't. And now look at the children of that stuff. They're out of their damn minds. And they don't see anything wrong with it. They love it. And you say, well, how can you love this? It's so one dimensional, so limited. This is their whole reality. And you can't tell them nothing. These new rappers, you try to tell Megan Thee Stallion and any of her minions, that this is degrading you. She's gonna be like, what do you mean degrading? But her whole, when she grew up in the era of slut walks and in the era of, air quote women empowerment, where it was just basically just be loose sexually. They don't see anything wrong with this. And they said, well, men were always doing this, so why can't we? They feel like the propaganda is so thick with this stuff that it plays on all of the things that women always said that they wanted, a sense of independence, sense of sexual liberation, a sense of not being dependent on a man, and a sense of, feeling like you're weaker than him. So that's where all of this taking their power back, finessing the man thing comes from. That's a form of them taking back power and control. And so they feel like this is their time, this is their season. But what they don't realize, see, they think they're on a cutting edge. But what they're missing is no other community of women does this. Now, and the last one I was talking about, well, no, I think it was this one. But I was just saying that, you don't see women, but I said the Lady Gagas and the Madonnas or whatever. Mm-hmm. But in mass, we see our women doing this in mass, bro. And you see I don't see duplicates of Lady Gaga when I go to a bar. Man, it's white night, so I don't see women with their titties out like that. They be having their titties out, but they don't be having Lady Gaga stuff going on.
Right.
I can go to a club, random club, hole in the wall. This ain't even the biggest place in town where you got to be dressing, like you're on the runway. You'll still see women with fishnet stuff on, sheer this, and they naked. They're just showing up naked. And it's like, hey, well, what is this? But they think it's empowering to show up nude somewhere. Yeah, it's the most ridiculous thing ever. But this is going on in mass with our women. So of course it's clearly not all of us, all of our women, but it's happening at a rate that you can't just say this happened by happenstance. Excuse me. To me, this is a product of products being pushed on our youth for decades. And when your children are just consuming commercialism, they turn out with these multicolored hair twerking machines. Yeah. And people's like, oh, well, again, don't hate on her. She doing her thing. She's a boss bitch, or whatever, and you just mad at her because she getting to the bag and you not. Oh, they're gonna come up with all kinds of shenaniganry to say why I'm hating on this stuff. But deep down, when you talk to any twerker, a lifelong twerker, lifelong sex worker, and you sit down and you talk to them, these people aren't enjoying their existences. It's not much power you can get out of somebody plowing you for whatever, throwing something worthless at you like money and saying, hey, good job. And you can say you're reclaiming whatever you want. Your bank account could look however it looks, but at the end of the day, there's still this, and it's not even like, I don't want to say like moral shame, but there's still this level of, what are you, a hole for money, or are you a person? And right now, these girls are being brainwashed and conditioned to be sex workers. I mean, this is I don't believe this.
Yeah.
And so, if you talk to, I don't even know what a middle school, high school, or these young kids when they growing up, hey brothers, I don't know what y'all got to deal with. because the name of the game now literally is to be a sex worker. I mean, they're making it popular and cool.
It's
You know,
normalized. Yeah.
yeah. And
Hmm.
so, I guess in our generation where we got our knuckleheads claiming to be thugs and gangsters, and they thugging and gangstering so hard that they'll snitch on themselves in an interview on the internet and then use that to get themselves indicted. I think the next thing that we're going to see is actual residue from actual sex workers coming up next, in the next little pocket of whatever, where women are actually going, "Hey, I did it. It's stupid." You're
Hmm.
starting to hear some of the BBL women come out, and tell
Yeah.
people no.
And
But
and not to cut you off, but
but
you're starting to see some of these OnlyFans chicks do
that's
that
right.
too,
That's
where they're
right.
like, I regret that decision. I shouldn't have done it. It messed my life up.
That's right. So
Hmm.
I think you're gonna start seeing the fruits of this show up not too far from now, because it seems like because this has been going on for a while, but I think it's really hit its apex like right now. Like this, like honestly, bro, you know, I don't know what this planet gonna look like in 100 years, but this stuff should still be on record. People are gonna look back and go, "Wow, those people were absolute animals," and they thought it was empowering to tap into their animal side just because it was natural for them to feel. But didn't they know they were animals in the first place? And what makes us better than animals is the fact that we don't just react off mere instinct, that we can actually think and calculate and go, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't hump, you know, that wall over there, but now, man, hey, man, people are doing anything. And now
Hmm.
when people are going to start, with sex bots, they're going to be humping sex bots because they can't control their animal desires. So, yeah, man, in a nutshell, it's just like you always mention, it's social anarchy. It's basically hell. Everybody just live, do whatever you want. That's
It's
what
a
they're putting.
free for all. It's a free for all. That's
Like
what people want is a free for all.
once we
Yeah.
once we really get you can ask these liberal people, what do you really want? The liberal utopia is hell. It's going to be any kind of sex you want, any kind of drug you want to use, what you want to name yourself, what you want to identify as, you know, everything goes. That's literally
Well,
hell.
really, what they don't even want you to be able to. They wanted to just be humans having sex with humans. They don't even want you to. They don't even want our genders identified. They just want you to just human, and that's it. Yeah.
No, bro. Why stop at humans? Like, let's really get there. Because they're gonna say, hey, oh wait, whoa, you're a doll affiliate. You love dolls? Oh well, that's don't judge him. So it's not just humans. They want you to just have sex with anything. It got a hole in it. Have sex with it. Hey, I have this weird obsession with donuts. Oh, bro, hey man, just go ahead and have sex. They got a hole, don't it? They go thrust away. You know what I'm saying? That's not cream cheese in your bagel, sir. All right, so
Oh man.
y'all better slow down out here, man. This is a crazy world we're living in, dog. So I know everybody here at the Conscious Approach, we can have a good time with this, man. But be mindful, man, that the people that you go to work with, the people you send your people that your kids go to school with, you know what I'm saying? They ain't all cut from the same cloth, and they don't have the same type of values that you have, man. So we talk like this here, we kick the shit here, man, but we all know that the mainstream is it's got its issues. So just steer clear, man. Just steer clear and enjoy the show as much as you can.
Yeah, the mainstream's tendrils are definitely locked into the people, that's for sure. Hey man, and look, I'm old and I don't care because I think India Arie is right. But I stopped short of I'll stop short of saying it needs to go away entirely because I think that that's impractical.
Yeah.
For me, I just look at it and I say, let's just call things for what they are. Stop selling me a sex worker like you said, as an empowered person, an empowered individual, man, woman, whatever. You know, like don't give me a dope dealer is a dope dealer, whatever. However you feel about, these these rappers who rap about, weight and coke and selling drugs and doing drugs, popping pills, all of that kind of stuff. My whole thing is get off your high horse with trying to package that and sell it to me as they're this noble entrepreneur or this above board noble businessman. Like, I mean, he's just doing what he's doing. And it is what it is. And I think for people like Megan Thee Stallion or anyone else, any of the litany of those other artists that I mentioned, it's one of two things. Either they actually are modern day sex workers who happen to have a microphone in their face, or they're actually private, more reasonable people, but publicly they portray themselves as sex workers. Either one of those, in my opinion, is not good, because either you're a sex worker on purpose, or you're a sex worker because you're too afraid to be who you really want to be. Either one of those to me is not good or redeemable. So I just say let's call a spade what a spade. It is what it is.
Yeah, man. Hey, for everybody out there, don't let these people bully you into liking this garbage, man. And by the way, bro, Bow Wow's 36, so he right up there.
Oh, cool. No, he's with us then. He's absolutely with us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now we got Styles P. Styles P is worried about the long-term ramifications of artificial intelligence. These were interesting comments. I thought that we broached it on the channel. So Styles P was recently on the First Smoke of the Day podcast, and they talk about a litany of subjects on that thing. One of the things that they talked about during that particular broadcast was AI. And obviously AI is affecting society in many ways. It's not just affecting society in music, it's also affecting society everywhere, in every industry, business, commerce, tech, you name it. AI is having a profound impact on how we live. So, and hopefully you are aware of that. You probably are. If you follow this channel, you probably are aware of that. But it's also having a big impact in music. So, Styles P has some thoughts on AI and some of the problems or some of the ways that he sees it as problematic. So this says Styles P speaks out against artificial intelligence. Styles P is still a hip hop legend from his time as a member of the Lox. So when he talks, people pay attention. According to Hip Hop DX, in a recent interview on First Smoke of the Day, he made sure everyone knew his take on the increasing use of artificial intelligence. Quote, "I don't dig it. I don't like artificial anything, especially not artificial intelligence." He said, "I think as people, none of us do. Do you know what's crazy? When you think about it, God made man, man made machine. Machine is thinking better than man, and that is God," he explained. Styles P had plenty more to say about artificial intelligence later on in the interview. Artificial intelligence is man-made. Who's making it? So you have a lot of human beings that are not going to understand that a human being actually made artificial intelligence. And now people are going to think that artificial intelligence can think better than its creator. His favoring of naturalism is no surprise, given that Styles P has been a vegan for decades, on top of avoiding animal products. He's also avoided processed foods in an aim to be as healthy as possible. And so that's pretty much the gist of that. This is a pretty big YouTube channel, so I am not going to play that video because I feel like we'll get flagged for that. Mm-hmm. However, all links are in the description of this video, of course. So there is a link to this article, which will allow you to, of course, click on the YouTube video so that you can watch the whole thing, or if you would just want to find the part where they're talking about AI. But Styles P, yeah, 1/3 of the member of the Lox, hip hop / rap OG veteran. He's into juicing as well. He has like a juice bar business, and yeah, like you said, he's vegan. He's big on smoke. He's a pot advocate, likes to smoke. And he's a natural guy, no animal products and none of that kind of stuff. So, yeah, interesting comments I thought that I wanted to bring up on this channel. What do you think of what Styles had to say about AI?
I agree with him. 100%. But much like how India Arie and the last one, like you said, you know, the 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 idealistic way of I don't want AI at all. That's not even possible. So we're gonna have AI whether we like it or not. It's here. It ain't going nowhere. So good luck. And so yeah, I don't like it either. And for one, shout out to Styles P, man. As you mentioned, bro, super all natural kind of guy. And if you guys haven't seen any interview of his, I do suggest you guys watch it. Guy's super chill, and he's not like Gandhi enlightened, but the guy's just realistic and practical, and everything that you think in the back of your mind, he gonna say it out loud, and you go, "Oh man, I didn't know it was okay to think like that." And it's like, yeah, dude, it's okay. So Styles P, super cool dude, and so I agree with his take that AI, everything is gross, especially in the music industry. I don't see its placement. I get it, but I don't like it. I had told you about a AI Drake song that I heard, and I was like, "Yo, this shit's crazy, bro. The shit actually slaps, and it's actually better than a Drake song." And I'm sitting there listening to it, and because I couldn't believe it, I had to keep listening to it to where's the AI, and it's like, how's the AI showing up? So in that situation, I think somebody actually wrote it, rapped it, and then the AI just mimicked Drake's voice in that guy's tone. But be that as it may, when this thing actually sharpens up and turns into 5D audio, and you're sitting there going, is this really Michael Jackson? It's not. And when that happens, who knows what's going to happen to music then? Getting AI into writing. So that's just the voice part. So to get AI into writing, to me, is even more dangerous. That is literally bastardizing the term art, in my opinion. And so when that actually becomes a thing where AIs are actually writing lyrics and then probably even performing those lyrics, then you go, there's a difference. There's a difference between hearing, there's a difference between hearing an artist pushed by a label like a Megan Thee Stallion or whatever, and they're told to twerk on stage and just be a disgrace to your race. And then she'll go do that, and she'll tap dance as best she's but she's flawed and she's a human. She might wake up one day, it's all kinds of variables. But when you have an AI artist, the propaganda can come at any point. They'll do whatever, whenever, say exactly whatever. I don't like this because I already think music is programming people. The direction that this could go in, I don't find it a secure space. And it's really going to get to a point to where it's man versus machine, in the sense of whoever's giving us these machines, these people tend to have agendas. And whatever their agenda is, they're going to put it in their whatever. And if it's AI and it's slapped the way it needs to, people ain't going to stand a chance when it comes to the boom bap and how it hit. And people just going to be whoop, whoop, whoop. And that'll be the new form of artistry, if you will, or mainstream music. It's going to be ones that the labels completely 100% control. Much like how that AI rapper that they tried to come out with some months ago, that beta test they tried, and everybody was rejecting it. But it's just like, nah, that's the angle. And eventually they're going to have AI stuff out here in mass for us to consume, like these chat GPT things or whatever. And last thing I'll say before I let you go, it's the new show with Samuel L. Jackson in it, on Disney Plus or whatever it's on. That character from the
Secret
Avengers.
Invasion. Yeah.
Yeah, Secret Invasion. So the intro for that was made by an AI bot, and people were pissed that they would even insult us, the viewers, by having an AI generated images and stuff like that. But it's like, oh no, they're not just going to stop with cute little chat GPT. They're going to put this in your movies. These are going to be the new scores. Why hire a new orchestra when you could just have an AI bot generate an entire score for your music? They're going to replace everything. And so, do you want to hear a score from actual humans who are flawed, but in that flaw that they have is a certain genius that you can't mimic through robotics? Or do you want to hear some crispy, clean, perfect thing because it's robotic thing? I don't want to live in that world. So yeah, it's not just going to stop with the hip hop industry, man. They're going to proliferate this throughout everything that you know and love. But I'm with Styles P on this one. I'm not with it. I don't want to hear AI artists, as nostalgic as it is, to hear Tupac on a new beat or Spaz on something. It ain't Tupac, and I don't want to hear that bastardized version of his voice. But it's going to be a thing. But how about you, sir? Do you agree with all of this stuff? Do you think that AI, there's still a room for real artistry in this lane, or do you think there's just too much to handle?
I'm with Styles P. And for the life of me, I don't understand why. Now, you do have plenty of people speaking out against it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why it's not louder. I don't get why there aren't more people
Outraged,
fearful and
mm-hmm.
outraged enough to speak out against this emerging thing that is going to become. But see, I know the reason why. And the reason why is because it benefits a lot of people in certain ways that they're willing to kind of look past it. And I'll give you an example. So years ago, this is why I say this doesn't affect like this effect. I'm glad you brought that up. And that's a very good point, because if an AI technology is going to be used to come up with the opening theme of a TV show, then that means that there's some composer or some engineer, some producer. There are people who therefore in effect did not get the opportunity to do that because there was a technology that was used instead. So quite literally, money is being taken away from people, and being kept by the people who are the people who develop these technologies.
Yes.
But the problem is people's willingness to be herded. And the biggest example that I have of this is mass production supermarket chains. And I look at places like Walmart. So one of the reasons why years ago I stopped going, like I personally protested Walmart years ago. To this day, I refuse to spend my money in Walmart, and I will never spend my money in Walmart again as long as it would have to be such a weird circumstance where I have no choice at all and I have to go into Walmart in order for me to spend my money in Walmart. Because what Walmart started to do years ago was they just became a modern day slave ship on steroids. You would walk into Walmart and the store would be filled with thousands of people, and there would be like 3 registers open. And if you don't want to wait in the register because the line is of course too long to actually have your groceries scanned by a human, you can go wait in self-checkout. So what I started to notice taking place is more and more people not getting jobs, not working, not earning money, because technology was making it convenient for a lot of these large corporations to just not care about hiring humans. And their profit margins can increase. They can make more money because their labor curve is low. They're not actually paying people paychecks. So what I tried to get people to understand is the more you go to Walmart and the more you go through self-checkout anywhere, you're actively contributing to the obsolescence of human beings. You're contributing to it. You're contributing to humans becoming obsolete. That job used to be the work of a cashier. Is no longer in existence because it's just self checkout now. And Walmart doesn't give a shit because the corporation and the board and the people who run the company and who own the money, they're making their money. They're going to be good. They don't even spend money at their own stores anyway. People who run Walmart don't shop in Walmart.
Hell.
So because you want to save an extra $2 to $3 on a bag of Doritos, are going to go to Walmart and contribute to the obsolescence of humans. What we are seeing with AI is the evolution of that, where now we're contributing to the obsolescence of humans because we will allow record labels or whomever to just, movie studios, whoever, to put on these large scale productions on these shows and be able to do it on the cheap and not pay people because they can get away with AI doing certain things, like coming up with musical scores or themed intros, stuff that humans used to do. People need shit to do. You talked in the previous segment about what separates us from animals is our ability to cognitively dissect information and act accordingly. That's what separates us from. Another thing that separates us from our animal state is the need for social interaction and the need intrinsically to do shit. The minute that these jobs no longer exist, the minute that labels don't care about your favorite rapper anymore because they can just have an AI rapper make their money for them, more and more people are becoming obsolete. And we actively contribute to it because, number one, we don't speak out against it enough. And the reason why we don't speak out against it enough is because we get some sort of low-hanging benefit from it. You go to Walmart and you get to save $3 on a carton of oatmeal. But in the long run, what did that cost you? What are you going to do when your kid, because mind you, the wealth gap continues to widen. So you have people who are at the top making all the money. There is no more middle class. You're either broke or you're
Yeah.
There's no middle. There's no middle. There's no middle. You're either broke or you're getting off.
Yeah.
So if you're in the majority, which is broke, that's the majority of the population, people, right? If you're in the majority of the population that's just getting by, and you have a kid who's in high school, middle school, whatever, and back when you were a kid, you used to be able to work part-time somewhere and make $300-$400 a week, depending on however many hours you work, put money in your pocket.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Your kid no longer has that opportunity. Technology's taking those things away from your kid. So you don't have the ability to send your child somewhere, go serve tables somewhere, go bust a table here, go be a cashier at a supermarket. This machine learning stuff is taking all of this stuff away.
Yep.
And we're contributing to it because we want to be able to save a few dollars here or there on whatever. Let's get rid of delivery drivers because we want to, well, rather, let's get rid of companies hiring people to do food delivery because they can just cut that out by having all of their orders taken through Grubhub, Uber Eats, whatever. And then whoever does Uber driving, who's an independent contractor, they're not affiliated with the company. They'll just go pick up the food and deliver it to your house. But the employment factor of Domino's or Papa John's hiring delivery drivers, that's completely evaporated. Yeah. So we revel in these technologies because we think that it's making the world a better place. And in certain respects, it's adding convenience to our lives. But there are unintended consequences of this stuff. And so whether you want to talk about the music industry, or if you want to just, if you want to kind of peel that back and look at other industries, this stuff is real. And we are actively contributing to our own obsolescence. And it freaks me out. It scares me to death. The job of cashiering is basically non-existent. It doesn't exist. Certain companies are still holding down the fort. Like if you go into a Publix, you'll still see it majority people, humans scanning stuff. There aren't, there's a lot of Publixes where they are incorporating things like self checkout and whatnot. But for the most part, you still have certain companies who are trying to keep humans doing stuff. But all in all, at the top, the more things are becoming corporatized, and the music industry has been corporate. We already know the music industry is corporate. So
Mhm.
we're literally cutting people out of abilities to just do things. Even if you want to be cheap and not pay people to do shit, still having people there to do stuff is an intangible quality inherent in human existence that does not need to go away. And we are actively eradicating it because we are too lazy to get into our car and go pick up a carryout order. We just rather do Uber Eats and have it delivered. Or we'd rather, you know, patronize an AI rapper instead of, demanding that, an artist actually be a real person. So it's wild. It's crazy business. And maybe because people pay attention to what rappers have to say, because there's all sorts of people in the media, economists and people who work in educational institutions, people who know about this kind of stuff, who are speaking on the dangers of it. No one's really listening or paying attention because everybody's just like, give me my food now. Give me my movie now. Give me my show now. I don't care. I want to be able to spend 100. I want to be able to save 250 on, a six pack of beer. I don't. Why do I want to go to a supermarket and pay a regular retail price? I don't care about a human scanning my stuff. I want to save my $2. So let me go to this supermarket where I can save these little bit of ducats, but I'm actually contributing to getting rid of humans. So, we want the immediate gratification. We want the instant now, 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 now. We're lazy, short attention spans, all of that factors into it. So I think Styles P is right, and it's bigger than music. Music is a part of it, but it's a conversation obviously that's much bigger than music. And I just don't get why people aren't more fearful of what's going on with this stuff, because it's happening. It's happening right before our very eyes. Pretty soon, freight is going to be non-existent. They'll have AI trucks, AI vehicles that can just transport your stuff whenever. Amazon is basically already running on AI. They still need humans every now and again to work in the fulfillment stations to actually package stuff, but slowly but surely they're getting rid of humans too. It's just all machines, AI, algorithms, and we're contributing to it because we want to be able to spend $15 for something on Amazon Prime because it's cheap. So it plays upon our insecurity, our financial insecurities, because we want shit to be cheap. But long run, we are actively getting rid of people. So maybe since Styles P is a rapper and people tend to pay attention to what rappers have to say about stuff, more people will listen. That's my hope, at least. But moving on, I just kind of feel like people need to kind of wake up and pay more attention to this because it's happening, it's real. You guys think this shit isn't a big deal, but we are really living in a lot of these books that got written hundreds of years ago. Some of these books were written 50, 60, 70 years ago that were projecting this. And at the time, it seemed like a fantasy. And I'm here to tell you it's not a fantasy anymore. Um, and I've mentioned this stuff in the past. Read The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand, George Orwell, 1984, Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. You can even watch some contemporary shows like Black Mirror on Netflix. This stuff is happening. Uh, Children of Men, I forgot who wrote that original book, but that's another one where that's happening, talking about infertility causing the end of the world. We're headed in that direction too. So all of these things are actually happening. And I think Styles, it's not a coincidence that Styles would talk about this, him being a guy who's sort of built his personal life around certain tenets rooted in naturalism. So I applaud him for speaking on it, but I do think more people need to pay attention.
Yeah, and you know, like you said, bro, like the world we're living in, like right now, uh, this is a product of like commercialism, and in the future, like people just gonna have to get with this. And nobody wants this, like you said. Nobody's asking for this, and nobody they want it, but nobody's really. First of all, people want this on one hand, and the other hand, they're like, "Nah, I don't want this. Like, I'm not asking for this right now. Like, y'all can have that, 50 years from now, but I still need my job."
Yeah.
So there's this part of it's this weird thing where people do like some of the benefits of it, but for the most part, everybody hates it. In a sense of, well, where's jobs going to come from? Where blah blah blah. And but people are just gonna have to get with this, because this is just going on whether we like it or not, and it's happened at a rate where you don't like it.
Yeah.
And this shit done, it seemed like it picked up within the last 2 years. And this stuff has already been going on, but like in the last 2 years, it's like, hey man, I didn't know y'all were that far. I thought this was 2030 technology. Y'all showing me this today.
Yeah.
So I'm tripping out. So this stuff is happening with our consent, whether we like it or not. So there's going to have to be an area of being ahead of the curve somehow, some way, and educating and informing yourself so you can be in a position to where you're not caught in the cutting room floor once your job decides to have mass layoffs. And one thing about the mass layoffs that's going on at ESPN, now people are not going to contribute this to AI and stuff or whatever, but this is, for a major thing like ESPN and Disney to be, because Disney has their own issues, but still, for them to be laying off people like this, big names and stuff like that, there's more to come, y'all. That's just ESPN. It's more people, because I'm telling you right now, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of production stuff and a lot of things that you needed humans for. You don't need them no more.
Well, and not to cut you off, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Microsoft, was it
Mm-hmm.
this year or last year, laid off several thousands of people. Google laid
Mm-hmm.
off thousands of people.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook laid off thousands of they laid off thousands of people in one swift move. Disney laid off thousands of people. I don't remember the exact year that these things took place because they tend to stagger them. So I know that they all did it though. So go look that up for anyone who wants to research that. Disney, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, they already did it. And part of the reason why they were comfortable, and they're going to give you the where it's, they're going to give you the language to make it seem like they care about you. They don't give a shit. They were able to do it because they knew that they could replace a lion's share of that production with machines and technology.
Yes.
You're obsolete. They don't need to pay you $120,000 a year to code anymore. Machine can do it now.
Right.
Machine can do it now. And this stuff is a trickle down. It might start with Google and Meta and all of these other corporations, but eventually it's going to reach your doorstep.
Right.
And what are you going to do about that if you're just willing to sit there and accept being able to save a couple dollars on something because technology made it convenient for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so not just music, not just the McDonald's. It'll be engineers. Because think about it. Somebody got to go to engineering school and they got to learn math. Like, you can program these bots to do math. It's not going to take. Then with these things where they just spit out stuff, you could tell it to design an office building within this dimension space, this and that. That thing gonna whip it up faster than the human. Human gonna need time and projects and dates. That thing can whip it up in 30 seconds. They don't need people. So and that's just now.
Yeah.
So how's this gonna look 10 years from now, 5 years from now? There's gonna be jobs, and I already know people, bro, regular everyday people, and they just getting laid off. And yeah, man, where you working at, man? Odd jobs here, odd jobs there, just not what the pay they used to get, and they just trying to make it happen. And when real talent starts to get into the unemployment pool, what does that make for the every average day person that was not top tier talent? Like, and it's going to be a trickle down effect. So that's why I'm telling people, You have to get with something. Now, you may not like this, but this is going in a direction where you pretty much can't help this anymore. And if you decide to just, nope, I'm gonna just be off the grid and I'm gonna just and that's gonna work for the first 2-3 years, man. But I'm telling you, when everything becomes this integrated system where you gotta be plugged in somehow, some way, you might want to be in a position where you're still securing some level of income for yourself. And so that's why I'm saying you're gonna have to position yourself with this. And basically, kind of like uh um like using the venom of a spider to actually use it for the cure for the bite.
Right, right.
And
Yeah.
so you might have to get your hands into some of these waters just to make sure that you're taking care of your own. But at the same time, being in this space where it's like, hey, being realistic about your scenario and your surrounding. You can still not like this, but if you have to get into some of this to make sure that you're good, then so be it. But trying to be some noble person, well, nope, I'll do all my math by hand while somebody's got a calculator over it, you're getting crushed. So use your calculator, but at the same time, you're not using a calculator to like erase jobs for people. You're using a calculator to create more jobs for people, or to actually feed your family. Use it in some type of way, because I know I will, and that's why I'm telling y'all. So I don't like none of this AI stuff too, none of these chat bots and nothing like that too. But what I'm telling you, man, if we're living in a world where your competition is across the street from you now, because everybody's getting laid off. And that guy that had a whole career over there and a whole field, that's just been eradicated. Now that guy's in the pool of people that just need money, just like you. So that's what I'm saying. So just, I don't want people to be on a position where, well, I'm so anti-AI that I'm just not even going to bother to learn. Or it's like, hey man, this shit's coming whether you like it or not. Because there's a lot of stuff that came whether we liked it or not. And what side of history were you on when it was too late? So I'm just saying that with this one, where people hold livelihoods, this is a lot different than any other thing. Your whole livelihood, like generational wealth, is at jeopardy with this stuff. And that's the part about you said that this transcends music, bro. Because there's a guy out there right now whose entire family gets paid because of these glasses. Some guy is just chilling at his crib right now, and oh yeah, I got a glasses thing. He's just on legacy sitting on that. But when you got bots and stuff like that, that's going to be out there competing and whatever, or has the actual self-driving truck, so you don't have to pay drivers, and so you can circumvent and all this stuff. This guy's going to be done. So whether he likes it or not, his whole 50 years and man, I thought I was going to be able to pass this on, it's gone. So there's going to have to be some level of getting with this in order so you don't get rolled on, but at the same time not pushing it. It's a delicate balance, but that's the mad world we're living in, man. But yeah, I don't like any of this stuff. I really feel like this is some apocalyptic Terminator 2 stuff happening.
Yes.
Skynet. Yeah, bro, this shit's really going down. And I was like, hey man, I'm born in the 80s. By the time this shit really get popping like that, I'm gonna be in a senior citizen home, so I ain't really gonna care. But bro, this shit happening now. I still got 30, 40 years on this planet. So I don't have time for this shit. So yeah, I'm gonna be around for this show, and I don't like it.
Yep, it is happening as we speak, man. The only thing that we don't have is the flying cars. I think that's what tripped people up. Is people were waiting for the flying cars. So it's like, as long as the flying cars aren't here, we still good. Nah, we don't. Nah, the flying cars, maybe that's later, but the rest of this stuff is happening now. Things that just learn off of your tendencies. It is. To me personally, I find it frightening because in addition to like I said, in addition to people's livelihoods being just completely obsolete, there's also the aspect of who are you going to talk to? Like, people are so, like, there is so much intrinsic value that people get from contributing through work that extends beyond the paycheck that they receive. There's
Right.
also social interactions and things
Right.
like that. You're
Right.
going to have people just sequestered into their house or
Yeah.
on their phone.
Yeah.
I already think we're living in weirdo times now with the way people communicate,
Agreed.
not face to face or not talking. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
it's only going to become more pervasive as time moves on. And so there's other ancillary components to this beyond just the financial implications that are, a little alarming to me. But I do agree, though. You can't just sidestep it because it's here, and you're gonna have to be able to adapt to it. And to the people who are able to adapt to it in whatever way that makes sense for them, that's fine. And then others are just gonna get weeded out and eventually die off, as callous as that sounds. But just generally speaking, like the part about it where it's like, where do people go now? Or, well, who are people going to talk to now? Where are you going to get that part of what it means to be a human? That stuff, I don't know, can be addressed so easily. So people just need to be mindful of this kind of stuff. And, I get a little preachy on this particular subject because I kind of saw this kind of stuff happening years ago. I'll be trying to tell people, I'm kind of with you. It's like, hey, man, you don't need to completely denounce it, but like there's a difference between not denouncing it, but being like, give me more, give me more, give me
Yeah.
more.
Right. You're
And
right. Right.
people
Right.
are like, and right now people are like, give me more, give me more.
Right.
Like
Right.
I tell people, man, listen, you want to contribute in a positive way with some of this, don't go to self-checkout.
Hmm.
Take your cart and go get it scanned by a human. Little things like that help. Don't always go to self checkout. Don't spend your money and patronize places like Walmart that are actively trying to get rid of humans. They're trying to get rid of people. They're actually trying to do it. It makes no sense to walk into a huge supermarket where there are thousands of people in there buying shit and there's 3 registers open out of 20. Make that make sense. It doesn't. So if enough people were like, I'm against going to Walmart, but even if you want to go to Walmart, whatever. If people want to go to Walmart in mass and say, I'm not doing self checkout, if Walmart had lines all the way to the back of the store because people were waiting to get checked out by humans, then Walmart would put more people on the clock to work registers. They'd have to. Otherwise, they would suffer too much of a financial loss from people who get so mad that they take their business elsewhere. So they'll cave, they will. It just takes enough pressure from the people. And I know that I'm speaking idealistically about this. I know I am. I get that. But I'm just saying, like, it helps. I'm just saying it would help. I'm just offering up the suggestion. It would help. So I do little things like that to try and preserve whatever semblance of traditional human existence that we have left, albeit my knowledge that technology and AI is here to stay. But I don't necessarily think it's the best thing in the world that musical composers and producers and engineers and drivers and cashiers and all of these other things are just becoming more and more obsolete by the second. By the second. Even monitoring on the internet through my job, I have to talk to a Facebook rep every month because I do the Facebook advertising at my place of employment. So I have to talk on the phone to a rep every month. And these people tell me about stuff that's going on. For anyone who does not know, the machine learning that Meta uses to suppress certain content and propagate other forms of content, there used to be people on the other side of those switches. It's not anymore. It's just a machine that learns tendencies and censors content. Machines do that now, not people. So, maybe there's a certain aspect of this that requires knowledge by the general population. I'm not too sure. I don't know. I know what I know, you know, but, I think people just need to be mindful of the long-term ramifications of things like AI. It's just being mindful. You do whatever you want to do. If you want to shop at Walmart until your heart's content, do self-checkout, whatever. I can't stop you from living your life. But, being mindful of some of this stuff at least serves some sort of tangible benefit.
Yeah, and I'll just say this: real artists out there, don't quit, don't give up. Keep putting your real stamp of artistic, DNA on things, because I really think what this stuff is going to do is it's going to drive a premium for actual real human art. And so for people out there that still have a skill or whatever, you'll be seen as a relic, more than, somebody that's useless. So I would still tell people to stay 10 toes down with whatever you got going, whatever makes you, whatever makes you feel like an artist or a unique individual. And it can be an engineer, man, just your math or whatever, but just stay sharp. You never know, man. But I still think that there's still going to be a premium put on people that are still actually skilled and talented in this next wave. So, stay vigilant, and, don't be so doom and gloom with this stuff. I know this sounded kind of dark, but at the same time,
Yeah.
I mean, look at what's going on. So, but, just rest assured, man, work on your skills, whatever that may be, and it don't have to be like art, man. If you're a receptionist at a hotel, there's a skill in that. And so it's just make sure you still stay on top of your game, and don't let these AIs circumvent you from actually putting your best foot forward. Because I remember teachers, man, it was like, hey, I know you can do this math with a calculator, but do it the long way and do it without it. And I was always grateful for those teachers, because I was actually learning the math. So AI is helpful, but leaning on it too much, of course, can be detrimental. So artists, stay artists out there, and don't lose the faith, because I know I ain't.
Yeah. Skynet
Mhm.
is Skynet is going to become active. I'm telling you, man.
Boy, that shit.
Skynet is about to become self-aware. It is,
Boy,
and we
when they come out with the liquid T1000 or whatever, you know what I'm saying, the malleable one.
yeah.
Hey man, hey.
Skynet is going to become active, man. Judgment Day is coming. But shouts out to Styles P for the content, man. We
Yeah, for
appreciate it.
sure.
And big fan of Styles P. For anybody who, you know, isn't going to spontaneously combust because you're listening to a rapper who's over 35,
Right.
God forbid, check out Styles P, man, because he still
Yeah.
puts out great albums. The last
Yes, he does.
album that he put out was called Ghosting, and it was good.
Yes.
And so Styles P puts out good stuff, man. So big fan of his music, and I do tend to be appreciative when he, gives his opinions on various subjects.
Agreed. Same.
But yeah, so that'll do it for tonight's stream. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. My name is JV Wins. That's Dogon SS, of course. Instagram at JV Wins, JVWINS. Conscious Approach on Instagram. Con Approach, CONAPPROACH. Follow Conscious Approach on the Facebook page. We also upload all the content there as well. Like that page. But most importantly, please subscribe to this YouTube channel as we continue to grow the Conscious Approach community. We certainly appreciate everybody who appreciates us giving you that good dosage of logical content. We are still working out the kinks to get Conscious Approach live on podcast platforms so that you can listen to it in audio form. So excited for that. And just a general thank you to everybody who interacts with our content. We certainly appreciate it. People who chime in on the comments, either via stream or video upload. We appreciate it, man. So until the next video, keep it locked, stay tuned, stay up, and stay out of self-checkout.
Yeah. And the name is Dogon SS. And you can find me on Instagram at Dogon_SS and on YouTube at Dogon SS and Hurricane Dogon. God damn. All right. And as I mentioned on every part, guys, don't be too high, don't be too low. Keep it calm, keep it chill, keep it plip, and don't let anybody get you off your pivot. So until the next time, guys, we'll catch y'all on the flip side.
Yeah. Until the next video, we'll see y'all later. We out of here. Peace. Damian Lillard to the Heat, baby. Damian Lillard to the Heat. Let's go.
No Ben Simmons.
No. They bring Ben Simmons. I'll quit. I won't be. I'll stop playing. I won't like the team. I'll quit.
Oh Lord. Well, I saw his name pop up in there.